On this podcast, we're going to be talking to all different kinds of people that are all on their own journey and they've all got their own story to tell. We're going to go beneath the surface. My name's Paul Schweiler and I hope you enjoy. Jason McBean, I appreciate you coming on board. Thanks for accepting the invitation to come up.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, Mr McBean.
Oh, anything.
Emily calls you Mr McBean.
Mr McBean. She's very polite, very respectful.
She is like that.
Yeah, Jason Beaner. We get a lot of names over the years.
I've heard a few. Mate, again, thanks for coming on. And
thanks for having me, Paul.
One of the Doreen public figures, and you've certainly got a good presence about you when you walk around the streets. And you've been on my hit list for a little while, so I'm excited to have you on. Grade 6 graduation last night.
Yeah, no, thanks, Paul. And it was one of the absolute great nights that we have at school. We have a lot of big nights, a lot of celebrations, and really put our grade 6s front and centre. Their 7 years of learning at the school and all the opportunities that they take. And a packed house there at Diamond Creek Community Bank Stadium, great venue for us, and our team does a sensational job at making the place look very Lorimer.
Yep.
And we take the show on the road. And, it was quite interesting because Diamond Creek East had their carols and we had our graduation, and it was like Collingwood were in town. There were people everywhere and the lines were huge.
So there wasn't a lot of teeth around, is that what you're saying?
No, that's right. The dentists will be in roaring trade. But really, really great night, and so proud when you can get up there and acknowledge the kids, our staff and the parents and their work to get the kids to that level.
Absolutely. And how would you summarise the year that's been? Do you find that every year that goes past, there's always differences about them? Or can it roll into one a little bit?
Yeah, no, I think we've had a few chapters. We had our post-COVID days. We've had the 3 years of really, tough times, but we did so well of COVID. And then this year we'd have to say that it was more normal. We're right out of the COVID umbrella, even though it's still a thing prevalent in the community, people aren't running away from it. So we were able to then do all the opportunities that we love for our kids. And, notwithstanding the fact there's financial pressures on families and things like that. But I did say last night that I feel that Lorimer and the community here in Doreen's gone even stronger. There's a really good sense of achievement happening with our kids and family connectedness, and really realising that the school can play a central hub to the young lives with their development and their future moving forward.
100%. No, that's great. Before we wind back the clock a little bit, Jason, on how you've got to where you are.
Yeah.
I was going to say, leading into Christmas as well, obviously we're only a week away. How do you go coming up to Christmas? Do you, is it a wind down time for you, or are you focused on 24? Like, can you switch off on your break?
It's a great question. It's in education in a school of our magnitude. It is hard because we have our busiest month of the year, and maybe some walks of life are able to wind down a little bit. We never wind down because all events, but we do what we want to do to give the kids the best experiences, Paul. We'll finish up tomorrow. We'll get in and clean up a bit on Thursday. And then, really then it's about trying to step away and unwind from what is a huge year in education. And I get down to the beach down on the peninsula, which I've done that for most of my life. So lots of family and friends, and that's really the time to unwind, play a bit of golf, do a bit of fishing, and just relax under the trees on the
And you feel like you can zone out? Can you switch off? What do you reckon your weeks are that you really don't need to get involved with school coming up to a new year?
Yeah, well, I try and really block out from when the kids finish tomorrow. I try and unwind, it might be a game of golf, for at least 2 weeks. Yep. And then from about the 8th of Jan, we start to wind back into it because we do run our WASH program as well, our vacation care.
Oh, yeah, right.
So we have kids back on site. In about early Jan, so sort of got to be there. We run that as a school ourselves, not like an outside organisation. But I'm very grateful that I get the opportunity to be able to step away because a lot of people don't get that opportunity.
Right,
so
of course,
it's really good.
Try working in real estate.
Yeah, there you go.
I wish I could turn my phone off.
Yeah, no, I admire that's the 6 days a week thing.
It's tough.
All amazing,
but it's choice, isn't it? I love it, so it's great. But we'll wind back the clock a little bit. I'm really interested, and I'm sure a lot of people that listen to and watch this bit of background on where, like, how you got to what you are now, but importantly, like, where did you grow up? Where did you go to school? Were you an academic growing up? Like, how did all this turn up to where you are?
Education, yeah, it's a great question. Thanks for asking. Look, I grew up in Lower Plenty, Montmorency, great area of Melbourne, northeast corner. Absolutely love it. My parents are still there. St Francis Xavier, parade sort of education. But sport was always an underlying priority of mine. And, a mate of mine from the Swindon clan walked me down in grade 2 to Montmorency Footy Club in 1982, and I've been associated ever since. So very entrenched within the community, within football, 20-odd years as a player, 20 years as coach almost. So it's been a big part of my life. In terms of education, I think the seed was planted at Parade College. They asked Year 10 students to go and do an after-school sport program.
Right.
And I had the privilege of being at Collingwood at the time. I had about 4 or 5 seasons down there. And so it lent itself to going to help kids after-school programs right back as a 16-year-old. So it probably planted a seed. The teachers at the school would say, gee, you're really good at that. Where did you learn that? And it was really from my experiences that I was being exposed to in my sporting life. And, you bring your personality and your demeanour and your rapport with kids, and it probably really evolved from there, Paul.
Yeah, right.
Here we are 33 years later, and I didn't teach straight away. So I actually went into a career of doing some sales work. I worked for Val Morgan Cinema Advertising, Foxtel, when it first started, telecommunications companies, because Jeff Kennett was closing a lot of schools. So there wasn't a lot of jobs when my cohort finished in the mid-90s. So I took a sideways step, and then I got into teaching about 25 years ago.
Yeah, right.
So a quarter of a century.
And because you've got a good sporting background, you obviously could play footy. Did you ever think that maybe going the whole way through footy was that on the horizon, or?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Not fully committed to it?
Oh, the commitment was there. It was, I suppose every kid dreams of playing AFL, and I always loved it and was exposed to that through my dad and uncles, and we're at Vic Park all the time, the MCG and Waverley, and you love it. And as a 14-year-old, you go down to Collingwood in the development squads, and then a couple of years in the 19s, and I feel very privileged to have that opportunity, even though I didn't play seniors. The Collingwood Football Club were amazing to me in the way they looked after their young people. You meet a huge network of people from all the other clubs that you're playing against, and you become teammates. You're training pretty much every night. And you're getting taxis home, Collingwood putting you in taxis to get you home, which I thought in the 80s and 90s, that was really great of them.
Yep.
So and then from there, you just have this bond through sport and football, and all the great people you play with end up, getting in business and it's just that mutual respect that you have all the way through. And again, even though I didn't make it, there was a period where they cut out the 19s, and I had 2 years left. They brought in the under 18 comp, and I ended up leaving that to go and play senior footy at Mont as a 17-year-old.
Right.
And I got no regrets about that.
You paid a bit of money back then, or wasn't really?
Yeah, $52 a game, Paul.
And
they took out your shorts and sock money and your insurance, and you cleared about $35, and you'd have your 7 mates and you'd buy them a Jim Beam can, and it was all gone.
And that was done.
Yeah, but it was good fun. I wouldn't have it any other way.
No, they do all right, the Northern Footy now, with a bit of cash,
They do now,
don't they?
yeah.
They paid some decent,
pretty big money.
footy.
Yeah.
So footy didn't work out, and then you started to get into a bit of a teaching role. Where did your teaching role begin?
Yeah, it's great memories of the early days. After I was 3-year trained, I went and worked at a private school, Scotch College, in Hawthorn for a year.
Flashy school?
Yeah, yes, unbelievable. It was, God only knows now, upwards of 35 grand an hour to be. But back in the days there, in the mid-90s, it was I was camp coordinator at this camp called Lake Nillacuti, and I remember the outdoor ed guys. He gave me a budget of about $1,000, and he said, "Oh, go and grab the kids some prizes and all that for the trivia." And I said, $1,000 bucks. As state government, you might have 50, but everything was ramped up. But it was a great experience there. I'd transitioned into the VFA football at that point, playing at Box Hill. So I was actually able to get a great experience at Scotch College, and that was my first year. And then a couple of years after that, Diamond Creek Primary for 6 years.
Yep.
And then I went to a school called Wilmot Park for 4. And I've been at Lorimer for 15 years. So.
It's a long time, isn't it? So you did your early teaching, was it all primary or secondary? No, Scotch.
Always primary.
It's always primary.
Primary.
Yeah, okay. And
I was in the year 5 to 8, in the middle years, 5, 6, 7 and 8.
right.
Yeah.
And it's obviously primary's always been something you've clearly been more attracted to. What is it about primary over secondary for you personally?
Yeah, I just think, the early experience was in schools near Parade around Bundoora Mill Park. They were always primary schools, and I just felt that I could really connect with the little kids in their sport development. So my majors at Deakin Burwood over the 4 years were in mathematics and PE, and then with your sporting background, I just felt I was able to really impact them in a great way and impart my skills that I'd learnt to the younger kids. You'd probably then, as a young guy, thought about the behaviour of secondary school kids as well, and not that I wouldn't be able to handle that, but you just get entrenched in primary and you love it. You love everything that it brings and the development in the kids and the experiences that we can give.
I love that. But I was joking before with the guys in the office before we come down here, and we were talking a bit about you, and we were joking about how we don't know what a primary school teacher looks like.
Yes, yeah.
Particularly a principal, but you're probably not the picture of a primary school. Like, you're a lad's lad.
Yes.
You're a bloke's bloke. And
Well, I work with 112 amazing female staff members too. So it's really interesting, and I think it's always about striking that balance of, being the person I am with the lads, but also being incredibly respectful of all the amazing female staff that we have too.
Absolutely. And what other hobbies outside of footy did you have growing up? Did you do anything else that you enjoyed?
Yeah, just a love of I love cricket. I've been
anything sport. You just sport all around.
Yeah, I love all my sport, golf. But I just love health and fitness. And again, that was through your exposure at Collingwood over a number of years. Just teaches you to try and look after yourself and do something every day where you sharpen the saw. And then I suppose I've always tried to impart that with all the children that I've worked with, all the staff, family members. So try and live that fit and healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
And try and model that. And I feel that been able to bring a lot of people on that journey, and whether it's directly aligned to their sport of netball or basketball or hockey, footy, it's best that you can be as fit as you can as you're playing that sport.
Yep.
The people that know me well, we have a training group now with all the old retired guys. There's about 20 of us that train 3 mornings a week, and I try and sort of model that behaviour to the staff as well.
Right.
So
and then going back through when you were coming through for your teaching years, was when you joined Lorimer Primary, was it principal from day one?
No, so Daryl and I started the school. We had 8 staff in the very first year, 113 kids. I was there as a lead teacher in the day, but sort of Daryl's too IC to really help drive and shape the school that we are today. So, forever in debt to Daryl for giving him that opportunity and sort of, in effect, making contact to say, I'm starting a new school, I'd love you to come and help. And I'm like, that's where I'm at.
So who's Daryl?
So Daryl Furs was the original principal at Lorimer for 4 years. And then in the 5th year, he came into the office and he said, Jason, I'm thinking about going to start another new school. And I nearly fell off the chair because that sort of wasn't in the plan. And I was already assistant principal at that point. And then quickly became a principal in the last 11 years. That's where I've been. Yeah.
And that's, as far as primary school or any school goes, that's the top.
Yeah, well, it is, and it's a big responsibility. And I think, I was 37 when I took that on, and people, you might say, the quintessential principal, maybe not that young, but I think it was my experience in other fields and the sporting background and my teaching background, leadership enabled me, looking back, to take on that role. And to be honest, Paul, I love doing what I do. Every day I have the burn and desire. When I walk through, I try and bring the energy, I try and bring the attitude and set the tone. And I feel very privileged, to be doing that role.
And everyone, I think anyone that knows you would say that they agree with you when you say that. Like when you do walk around, you've always got a bit of a skip in your step. You look pumped. From a primary school principal point of view, you look like you're pumped. Like you're always excited. You're motivating. And I can, from our point of view, from the outside looking in, we can see that every day.
Well, it's lovely.
Even when you walk over the street, you're borderline running, Jace. Like I don't see you cruisy walk. You're always on the go.
There's always lots to do, and you try and we say every minute counts, and you're trying to maximise every minute. And so it's a great job. We obviously have nearly 1,000 kids, and every one of them is equally as important. And there's just always plans and programs and supports and assistance and celebrations that we want to give our kids, and supporting staff and our parents. And I think we strike a really happy medium and good model within the school. And it's also a big team. As one of the proud things as a principal is you get to form a team, and it's a formidable team of incredible people and passionate educators and just great people. And I suppose the one big diamond of being a principal is you get to choose your staff. You get to be on every
That was
panel.
actually coming up.
Yeah.
Is whether or not it is you as an individual principal. Do you hire and fire?
Well, ultimately, I do. I am a part of a panel that hires, and ultimately the buck stops with me. But the firing part, that doesn't happen so much.
No.
I think my job is to make sure that the rigour is there, that everyone's still loving what they do at Lorimer, that burns there for them to have the maximum impact, and perhaps identify if it's not that, I can also help other people get to other schools. We've got a big network, a lot of contacts. So it's always from a platform of support. But I have to, as I said at graduation last night, we're incredibly proud of our teachers to bring the opportunities like EB, all the camp program, graduations, self-carols. There's so many big things, the list go on, prep graduations. We do a lot through the year, and I'm proud to say, you do it because you've got an incredibly passionate staff.
Of course.
And, I'm really proud about that.
And what do you think it is about Lorimer Primary from your point of view because I speak to a lot of families obviously in our community as well. Yeah. And again, without trying to knock anyone else, I suppose you hear about other people that bring their kids to Lorimer Primary from other schools that their kids may not have had a great start, or for whatever the reason, and you hear some wonderful feedback that once they've come to Lorimer Primary, their kids have excelled and they feel comfortable, and they've been dads have been better, not only the kids. What is it about Lorimer Primary that I feel like has something a little bit more special than maybe some others?
Yeah, it's a brilliant question and scenario. I think it is the quality of the teaching and the quality of the people. And you have to have people in education where it's more than just a job. You have to have the passion and the burning desire to improve kids and to engage them and motivate them. And I can honestly say that the teachers there, I mean, you've experienced through EB the over and above nature that they do, and
absolutely
they can only do it with support, from the local community. But it's the greatness in our staff, and we have 10 amazing staff this year out of our 120 that are leaving, and there's been some huge contributions there. But we also have 10 amazing staff coming in to replace them that want to be at Lorimer. They waited for the doors to open and they
That's
jumped
amazing.
in.
That's great. So you're comfortable with whoever's moving on, the gaps are being filled. And is 10 is that normal for the end of the year, or is that a little?
Look, in a school of our size, you always have to have attrition. Like a grand final premiership team's never going to win the flag with the same group ever. No. And if we want to constantly stretch and improve ourselves, we need to, possibly have a bit of change there.
Is that sometimes brought on by yourself through, is it almost, I'm trying to get my words right. Do you ever pull someone into a meeting and say, look, have you thought about maybe another opportunity somewhere else?
I think that certainly happens in my role. It's performance and development culture in the school, and if people feel that they need another challenge, we need to try and help them get to that challenge or that next stage of our career. What I think our community needs to understand is that for a lot of our staff, it is their first school. And, I was talking about the schools that I've been exposed to. I've also been in to help other schools as a principal when they've been in need. So I think, it's about finding that right time for staff. And I'm really proud of I think too the 10 years probably a reflection of COVID. No one wanted to leave during those years because they felt the comfort and security. And now the time was nigh.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. And so staff retention. What about student retention? Do you find that do you lose students to other schools and you try and work out what went wrong? Or
definitely. There's a couple. I mean, 970 odd students this year. Not a huge number, but it's more the transient number coming in and out of the area. So you have a bit of a transient population at times. So we manage that, and in this day and age, we have more and more students that may be refugees or coming from war-torn countries. And as we know at our school, I think the single biggest thing is we're an incredibly inclusive school, with 44 odd cultures, and we take on board any of our families that see that Lauren will be a great fit for their family. Yeah.
And is that one of the great parts of your role about welcoming all these people from different parts of the world and giving kids and family a new start, I guess?
It's amazing. And, our school reflects Melbourne. Melbourne's one of the most multicultural cities on the planet. And out here in, northeast suburbia, we start to reflect that. And it's a great thing. It's a great thing for all of our kids to come and learn about different backgrounds and the diversity and the rich culture and most importantly, that acceptance and that inclusiveness. So I think that's when you ask about families wanting to come and it's a great experience, it is the high inclusive nature. It doesn't matter what background, colour, religion, culture, we will accept every individual.
Yeah, that's great.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, amazing. I think you said you got 970 kids, thereabouts.
Yeah.
120 staff, and then you got mums and dads. There's a level of responsibility for all of those people from yourself. Well, there is. Not a level. There is. You're responsible for everybody. What are the hard parts about your job? Because I've got 15 staff, right? And if you think about it, your kids to a degree you're responsible for them. Like what?
Yeah.
What's hard? And I feel like there'd be a lot. It would be a tough gig, but what's tough? What keeps you up at night?
Yeah, it's there's certainly big moments in the job as a principal, but then and really big moments. Just when you think you may have dealt with everything, another left field comes. But I suppose having dealt with many high-level things along the way, you feel that you're equipped with it, but it's still hard. Each and every one emotionally can be hard in your own way. But I think you get uplift from the kids. If I'm dealing with those moments, I'll make an effort to get into the grades more because it reminds you what you become a teacher for in the first place. So I get really proud of going into the prep building and the teachers and the kids and the engagement. You walk out and go, wow, everything else is washed away. And Brett and I, amazing assistant principal, I have the opportunity to walk and talk every day with our kids out in the community with the therapy dogs. And, there's ways that we can counterbalance those difficult moments. And I think that's a really good thing. And again, you need lots of energy to do it because some days you might think, God, I just want to sit down. But we have an obligation to the kids. Yep. We know it makes a big difference. But ultimately, if it's Brett and I or we engage any other staff members to come on, it's a good thing to do in any workplace. But yeah, there's certainly, some big things that, be highly confidential and moments in education in a school of our size that we need to work through, whether it's to deal with a student, a parent or a staff member, and possibly the the complexities of everything that goes on in our staff's life. We need our staff to be at their best by supporting them the best we can.
Of course.
When those moments arrive within their families and things. Yeah.
Is there much external pressure from families that you feel sometimes you're just being pressed all the time? Is it?
Oh, look, I think, as I said at graduation, I really think there's been growth and maturity in the area, and it's a beautiful thing. And I think as you get more experience, and we just churn out very successful years, and safety is so important. We keep every child safe. The learning is so important, and all the myriad of opportunities that the kids are exposed. So I think people go, when they're at school for 34 hours, all these kids, they're in a really good place. Kids come home happy, they're engaged, they've got their friends, they've got their great teachers. You know, life's generally pretty good, but notwithstanding the fact that there will be little issues that we need to sort through.
Doubt.
Yeah.
Going back to walk and talk, because this was one.
Yeah, okay.
I actually don't know if Zali still jumps on. I'm not sure.
She was a regular. Yeah,
she was.
She the legend. Yeah.
She'd come home and always tell me about walk and talk. It was one of her great memories, I think.
Yeah.
So far in her short school career.
Good. Yeah.
So where did that stem from? How did it become? And again, for the people that don't know about it, tell us a bit about walk and talk in a bit more detail.
Yeah, it's a great question. It came out of COVID, you know, and particularly after 2020, the first year, kids were shell shocked. Like, we sensed they were coming back, and it's like there was a lot of anxiety, a lot of nervousness, because their worlds had been rocked, and a lot of their parents' worlds had been rocked. So Brett had always had the matriarch Marley coming in, and a couple of other teachers had other retrievers, and we sort of said, well, how about we get a group of kids and we get the dogs, and we go out to school, loop around, we end up at the park, they'll feel really privileged, and it's with the principal and assistant principal. Well, here we are now 3 completed years later, and we've done that every day for 3 years.
So you're still doing it daily?
Daily.
I originally thought, Jason's trying to get his steps up.
It was, and it become, Brett and I really drive each other to do it because we know how important it is. And it's not really, the number of kids that come with us is not really determined by Brett and I. It's how many dogs are there. So it's the popularity of the dogs.
Yeah.
So if there's 2 dogs, we get 6 kids. If there's 3, we get 80, because they all want to walk the dogs. But it has been a great thing, Paul. And I'm proud to say that, you know, Brett, who's a superstar, have an assistant principal and a principal to do 400 minutes of yard duty each a week. There'd be no one else in the state
I wouldn't have
that
thought
would
so,
do
no.
that. But we love it too, and it's our way to connect with a vast variety of the kids, and they can debrief, they can laugh, we have funny moments along the way, and we move at a pretty rapid rate, and they have a little play on the park, and it's been a brilliant thing.
Yeah, I've driven past and you're moving along pretty quick.
Yeah.
You're usually up the front.
Yeah, we try and
Hazy's
keep moving.
down the back somewhere.
Hazy's hips are no good.
And another way, I guess, you know, when you're connecting with kids and families, you've got this ridiculously amazing ability to remember names. I've had a few people, not many people know I'm talking to you, and I'd say 3 to 5, but a few people that like ask Chase about, how does he remember everyone's name? Like, is this something that you have just always had a great ability to, or do you try really hard?
I do try and make an effort.
What's the technique involved? Because I'm not great with it.
What is hard is, so we lose our 137 grade 6s last night, and then we'll get the new 130 preps in. So you've got to sort of start again. So I've got 7-year established relationships, some of those families 15 years. So they go on, and then it's relearning the new families. Some of them are siblings, so you know some. But yeah, I make a real effort. I mean, I suppose when the students are at school, the number one priority is them. So I get into the grades a lot and work with the kids and, you know, with the teachers, and we have a bit of fun. And I think, and then the walk and talks and just in the yard in general.
Just pick it up.
Yeah, you pick it up. And that's still the number one thing is, without those kids at the school and the parents choosing, I remember we're not there. So it's about trying to fully invest in the children and the families and getting to know everyone. And I try and model that to the staff as well. Yeah.
Are you always get excited about the start of a new prep year?
Yeah, it's
I would guess it would be for a period of time, it'd probably be fairly stressful to make sure that everyone's comfortable and everyone's okay. But is it an exciting time for yourself?
It's amazing in that a lot of the work's done just in the last couple of months. So our prep transition for next year started in May. There's 5 prep familiarisation sessions, and then it evolves to this 5 step into prep, and then we had the big family barbie last week, and it was amazing. We were jammed in the staff room, and we had Gary Eastwood out on the deck.
Oh yeah,
playing
grouse,
to all the new
I would have loved to have known that. It would have been out.
He would
Take
have
me
come
back to
over.
the lower days.
He's a legend, and he just thanked us. He goes, I don't get to do these things. I said, well, we want to really have our parents feeling engaged, so that helps with next year, the start.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't know that Gary was rocking around.
Yeah, he came.
What day was that?
Last Thursday. Yeah, so just 3 days ago. Yeah.
What a jump the fence, Jace.
He was awesome. Man. He welcome anytime. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And how do you go delegating your work? Are you someone? Well, I know I find it difficult to delegate work. I'll handle it all, or have you got a really good team?
I've got an amazing team. You know, I think. Again, and people say, "Oh, you're really lucky. You got a great team," but you know, it's a lot of it's through your network and your relationships that you've built over a long period of time in education and possibly sport and the areas you come from. And you know, to have Brett, Justine, Deb, Nikki, it's a pretty amazing team at the principal class level with myself and 4 APs. Justine's leaving us Miss Convery after 10 years, so
wow.
and to show the level of loyalty, there's not too many Prins that have an amazing AP for 10 years like that, because they'll go on and get a Prin job. But she's got a job 6 minutes from her house with her young kids, which makes sense. We've got Brett, Deb, who could step into a Prin role at the drop of a hat, and Nikki. So it is a team. Then that filters through to all our lead teachers and our leadership team. Yep. And then we got other leaders through the team's curriculum leaders, ours. So it's a big distributive leadership model that I've got the full trust in all of them. That's what makes a great team, and I'm building the capacity for them to be the next wave of great leaders in the system. So not just for Lorimer, but I'm not sure whether many people know, but we're up to something like 32 principals and assistant principals in the network and in the system. And that's something I'm incredibly proud of, because it's always about, if I step away, you build the capacity. We make mistakes, we just learn from it, and we collaborate, and it's never a punitive measure, and the staff know that, so I can do this, and it's about instilling the belief in them. Yeah,
right. What do you think makes a great leader? What are the key attributes from your point of view when you're looking for a really great leader?
Yeah, well, probably over the journey, empathy. You know, you have to show empathy to every situation within reason too, but being a sounding board, just good listening skills, compassionate, and emotional intelligence. You have to be able to read the room and know what's going on. You can't teach that. No, it's a bit of an innate thing. And I think, you know, they're all skills that, you know, I don't know whether I did learn them, or it's that notion of, were you a born leader or did you learn it? I think there's a little bit of both. Yeah,
I think so too. It is hard to teach reading the room, and particularly in sales, you've got to be able to read the room very well when you're sitting around someone's 100%. Lounge room. But I think some of that just comes naturally as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned before about, I think your words were, there's, you know, a diamond in your role. What the first things that come to mind when you think the greatest parts of your position as a principal? What are those key things that stand out for you that you just think, I'm in a really great position?
Yeah, I think just student achievement and kids maximising their effort collectively. Last night, I'm just so proud of that room, because when you talk about 3,000 stakeholders in the whole school, we have about 900 present last night, so it's almost a third.
That's a lot.
You know, in terms of parents, grandparents, we have about 50 staff that come to graduation, all the kids. So, you know, we have an opportunity there to really highlight the successes of the year and the 7 years. Energy breakthrough is to have Rob Mitchell, a federal member of Parliament, read out the results and success in Canberra at Parliament House. That's a huge achievement. You know, he believes in our school. He was there last night. He gave a community leadership award. We have people from abroad at the very top levels that really believe in what we do, and for me, it's an amazing feeling. The whole War Memorial and what we do every Anzac Day, we're setting up from 2:30 in the morning. We really believe in what we do in an authentic way,
Mm-hmm.
and then the connection of the houses, that every child's connected to a house that's linked to the War Memorial. There's so many things that makes up our school, and we've got real history behind it now. So they're all the great things. And
the EB program is, I mean, we've only known of it in the last 3 years, but and it's been going well beyond that.
Yeah,
and it's an amazing setup. And what these kids, like, I hope one day that the kids get to experience that. Yeah. But it's more than just what people see from the outside about jumping in with a team and having a race. That's probably a small part of it, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's an amazing thing.
Yeah, the whole learning that goes on with presentation and design and construction, the scrutineering, just you're working as a team, your public speaking skills there. You cover off the full gamut of learning areas, and you're right. And it's, unless you go into the precinct, which you've been now a few times, it is mind-boggling, the magnitude of the event.
It's massive,
for kids.
Yep.
It's if you love Formula One and you step into Albert Park, it is like stepping into Albert Park, but for children. And you think, oh my God, they're like a Grand Prix.
It was my first time there. I got a shock.
Yeah.
And it was raining. There was people all over the place.
Yeah.
But it was just amazing. The way the teachers as well, Brownie and Aaron and everyone gets around them. It's unreal stuff.
Yeah. And look, it was sad to hear that the Education Department potentially pulling the pin on some funding, and I get things are tight and we're looking at, but you possibly wouldn't do it on a great program like that. And Rob Mitchell is going to be speaking to the Education Minister direct about that. Ben Carroll, which I think is fantastic, and it's more of an awareness thing. Once perhaps Mr Carroll gets wind of the impact on kids, and Rob's certainly aware of that should rightly stay, and more kids get to benefit from the program.
Absolutely, no, I think it's a great program. You wouldn't want to let it go, would you?
No. It's things are certainly up to review, and it does take a lot of staff resources, but we're so good at doing it now that we can do it in other ways too, with perhaps more of the parents involved with their kids, and some staff and some aides, and we can always look to tweak it. But first, second and fourth, after first, second and third, that's Mount Everest.
It's unreal.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, unless someone knows how big that event was, it might not mean a lot, but that's huge. There's a lot of teams there that were working hard.
56 teams. People like Simon and Mick, just parent volunteers that pour in hundreds of hours, and I think I was saying at assembly, like 42 hours of racing, 3 teams, they had one puncture. So the reliability of the car, our 3 cars, is off the charts with their engineering skills and mechanical skills.
That's right. And other things with programs with the school, I mean, obviously there's things that funding will always put the handbrake on. Lorimer Primary School, I'm guessing, is probably on capacity with how many kids you can have there, and how do you grow as a school and do new things? Is it always just funding the thing that really holds you back?
It's a fascinating question, because I think when you ask about highlights and opportunities, like we went to China for 6 years in a row, and our Chinese sister school came here 6 years in a row. But with COVID and things, that's obviously hard to do at the moment, and probably for many years. But nothing's ever been too difficult. We expose the kids to go there, and our staff, amazing opportunities in another education system. But what we're doing next year, we're looking to go into communities up north, in the Northern Territory. So we feel that with our Indigenous studies and our admiration and appreciation for where we're at as a country, that's the rich educational future moving forward. That once you get up to Darwin, which I've been twice, and into a community which I haven't been, into the communities, that would be the rich learning to bring back down south. So we've done some initial feasibility with parents, and kids are saying, Mr McBean, I'd love to do that. So that's our next body of work moving forward.
Where do the funds come from that?
Well, those types of things are self-generated. I mean, we always look to try and subsidise it with any level of funding, but they're sort of unfortunately in and out. So we come up with the tour organisers and the communities there. Same with China, and that's parent-driven. But if we can subsidise it to any degree, we will run a couple of Barbies and things like that.
I was going to say, is there anything, not that you ever want to feel like you're always asking, but is there many things that the local community and the parents of so many kids could do, even if minuscule, that would really greatly impact and be able to have the school do new things for kids?
Yeah, it's again, you're all over it in terms of just recently we've had a couple of incredible parents, community members come in to our wonderful girls in the office, Joyce, Sue and Chris and Mel, and they say they would like to donate, a couple $100 a year. So we have a Good Samaritan fund, like a line now that money, and they go, we don't want it read out or in a newsletter, and it just warms our heart. And again, that's an amazing part of the job. There's some incredible people out there, and like the businesses and the work that support that we have. It's like makes the work justified, because it's like it's so many people that care about the kids and want to move them forward and give them incredible opportunities, and we're just incredibly grateful in that partnership that we get to set that up and direct those funds to those students.
Yeah, and I think it's just reassuring to know that the community's behind the school. And like I said, again, I'm not just saying this because I'm a parent of the school or the fact that I know you half reasonably well, but there is a great feeling within the school when you're around through the teachers, just the energy levels. And I've never walked around the school and gone, everyone seems a bit flat today. Everyone's up and about. No one will skimp a conversation. Everyone's involved. Yeah. And that's just been like that for 2 years. And credit to yourself, because obviously you drive the culture through the school. So I just think it's a great. I just like hanging out at the place, really. And I think everyone's the same.
It's one of our mums the other day at the new prep barbecue. She has a grade 3 at the. I said, "How's the experience been this year?" And she said, "I love coming to school." I said, "You love coming to school?" Well, I'm more sort of for your kids, but that's the greatest endorsement when. And her husband said she genuinely loves it, Jason. When you have parents say that, it just, you get goosebumps because it really fulfills you in the role that you do. It makes it all the worthwhile and passes all that great feedback onto the staff, and it energises them too. So,
absolutely, it does.
Yeah, parents, as I said, it's at graduation, I've felt a real sense of the community's really strong. It's as strong as ever after 15 years that we've been here as a school, and I think the area's been going 2022. It's really great.
You involved much more out of the school community, like as far as the Doreen general community? Have you got much of a...
Look, certainly early days. So, I'm really proud to have... we set up the Lorimer Sporting Umbrella. So when it was just the school, there was no grounds, there was no... sporting facilities. So everyone was coming to us and people knowing my sporting background. So it wasn't a level of governance, but it was conversations every couple of weeks in our school with all the various sporting clubs that wanted to set up, wanted to use our facilities. And, we said basically the vision was, before any of the playgrounds were even built, to stand on the steps and look out and see our 1,000 kids, and then in the foreground seeing the netball, the basketball, the footy. And we've got that. Yep. So the only two things that we asked for with all the clubs, they had the Lorimer name and our school colours, and everyone's done that. Yep. And it's such a beautiful thing. And then with the footy club, I was asked to be on their very first coaching panel, and I have been involved a lot. Yep. We used to run the town fair for 6-7 years, and it's something we'd love to bring back. But yeah, very involved. Doreen Relay for Life we raised through Linda Mancino, and the school really backed it, $250,000 in 4 years, for cancer. So
I remember Relay for Life. When was the last time that was done?
Oh, yeah, it's going probably
3 or 4?
Yeah, at least 3 or 4, but it was huge.
What happened to that? How do we get that going?
Yeah, it would be amazing to get off the ground. It was really on the back of Linda's drive. Yep. She and the school, we would set up a lot of marquees and things like that for. It was 24 hours, 24-hour relay.
I remember,
for life. So we'd all do shifts through the middle of the night, and it was just an amazing community event. But yeah, Linda's legacy of $250,000 with the school and all the people who got behind it was phenomenal. And you'd be walking in the middle of the night with these beautiful families. Everyone's a victim of cancer. We all know someone, and means so much to us all. And they're just great things, part of the fabric. Yeah.
Absolutely. Before we get to a few little, I think I got 13 or 14 rapid fire questions for you.
Yeah, sure.
What does your future hold? What's are we going to be seeing Mr McBean around for a few more years?
Yeah, well, look, proudly, I've just finished a 5-year, because in principles you go in 5-year contracts. So I've just finished another one and been granted the next 5. Yeah, it's hard to know, to look into a crystal ball. Like, again, starting the role so young and already having 11, I need another 17, 18 years of work. That's my plan. So, yeah, there's a few more years left at Lorimer, but I certainly wouldn't do another 11, but whilst you love doing what you're doing and the burn and the buzz there and all the commitments that come with it, yeah, there's still work to do. We had 3 years of COVID where being a principal was totally different during the COVID years. You're sort of like a massive health officer, and so I've said to the department, I really want that 3 years back in more normal time. So,
bit of unfinished business, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. And just have the school flourishing in normal times and doing all the greatness that we do over there.
Yeah, well, you're doing that well, mate. So keep that up. Questions, righto. I think we answered the first 2, but how many students at Lorimer Primary?
So 970.
970. Yeah. On the knocker, you reckon?
A little bit less next year, and 964.
All right.
That's our official enrolment.
And how many staff?
124 all up. That's with Osh before and after year.
Which teacher makes you laugh the most?
Anna Maxwell.
Anna Maxwell. Good on you, Anna. Which one of your staff would you be lost without?
Well, yes, personally, and you don't have favourites, but Miss Convery, 10 years as my AP, I might have to do a bit of soul searching for a little while. Yeah, she's a legend.
Well, that's great. Will Mr Chapman ever leave, do you think?
He's surpassed John Farnham with the farewell tour. He's a legend. I absolutely love Des, and he'll be back in some capacity next year.
He's just a lovely guy, isn't he?
Lovely guy.
You don't want him to leave. You want him to stay around.
He inspires the kids and all of us with his attitude to fitness and life.
He's a fit
beautiful.
Off that, how many days a week do you train chest and arms?
Oh, look, I pulled back, but 3 official training sessions a week. Right.
Yeah. Why do you have a nickname, The Vice?
Matty Galletley at Collingwood in 91 came up with a very strong mark, and the thought was that I'd nearly popped the football.
Is that right? Okay. Which Pies player you giving the footy to 45 metres out after the siren? Who would you give it to?
Nick Dacos.
Nick Dacos? Coffee order?
It's a long black now.
Long black?
Long black.
Leaning up?
Bit of keto.
Best beer on tap?
Hazy Pale Ale.
Hazy Pale Ale? I haven't even heard of it. Where's that from?
It's a local beer, but we drink it a lot because of Mr. Hayes.
Yeah, okay.
The Hazy Pale
Ale. Hazy, yeah, fair enough. Dinner with 3 celebrities, dead or alive?
3 celebrities. Well, I'd have to have Craig McRae.
Right.
And his new wife, Gabby, because she's a mad Collingwood supporter. And Denzel Washington.
Yep.
Great actor.
Yep. And a third? He's great.
And a third, let's say Charlize Theron.
Okay. I love Denzel. I'm a big fan. I always rewrite his quotes in my Insta stories.
Oh, really? Yeah, he's brilliant.
Favourite holiday destination?
Favourite holiday destination, I'd have to say, well, I mean, I can't go past McRae, but that's a bit boring because I've been going there for 38 years. But I do love
McRae. Do you remember the McRoe's Caravan Park?
Yeah,
I went there for, for years.
Right, sort of, opposite. We were Section 5 near Parkmore and all that. So
great spot.
Good part of the world. But yeah, I'd have to say I love going to Sunshine Coast, like Maroochydore, Mooloolaba, favourite beaches, relaxing walks and runs. And
beautiful weather all the time. Always makes everyone happy.
Brilliant.
Last couple, favourite band, favourite music?
Bee Gees.
Bee Gees. I love the Bee Gees.
Bee Gees.
Favourite Bee Gees song? Mine's You Win Again.
Yeah, You Win Again is good. Massachusetts.
Oh, yeah, that's a cracker.
Yeah.
I've been listening to the Bee Gees since I was about 10.
Brilliant.
Would you expect that?
No, I wouldn't.
Love the Bee Gees.
I wouldn't.
Love the Bee Gees.
Well,
great.
6 decades of hits.
Yeah, sensational. And lastly, this come from M. What is the photo on your lock screen right now on your mobile phone?
It's of my beautiful children, Benjamin and Georgia.
Fantastic.
The young adults, nearly
How
20
old are Ben and Georgia?
Nearly 20 and 18.
Yeah, right.
So, my pride and joy, amazing children, and look at them every day and, cherish their health and happiness and love. So it's a beautiful thing.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Jace, well, mate, again, I'd like to thank you very much for coming on today. You're a great guy, and I think, you know, I feel privileged to have you on here today. I really do. You know, I look up to you, and I know the community looks up to you. You're great at what you do, and you know, we wish you all the best in the future. And of course, we should thank you for everything you do for the school, the kids. You know, obviously my daughter, and speak on behalf of everyone. You know, you're a wonderful role model of the community, and you should be very proud, mate. So.
It's a lovely thing, Paul. It's beautiful. Absolute privilege being here, and my pleasure. And yeah, love the community, and thanks for your support.
Yeah, anytime.
Amazing.
Good on you. Thanks, Jace. Well
Well
done.
done.
Good on you, mate. That's great.